Hello students of class 10. Today we are going to do a revision chapter, that is the poem Fable. We have already done it in class. We will just go through the poem once again. Now, Fable is a poem written by poet Ralph Waldo Emerson. He is an American poet, an essayist and a lecturer. Now, in this, the very title of the poem is Fable. Okay, Fable. You have come across, many fable stories, and if you remember, I spoke in class about Aesop fables. You must all remember the story of the hare and the tortoise. So what is a fable? First of all, a fable is a short story, generally dealing with animal characters, which have a moral at the end. Like hare and the tortoise, the story, it has a moral at the end, that is slow and steady wins the race. Then you have other fable stories also, and the thirsty crow in that way. So everything has a that is necessity is the mother of invention in that way. Now, in this poem also, this particular title Fable also tells us that there will be a moral or a message rather from the poet at the end of this poem. Now first let us read the poem once again. Fable by Ralph Waldo Emerson. The mountain and the squirrel had a quarrel, and the former called the latter little prey. One replied, "You are doubtless very big, but all sorts of weather must be taken in together to make up a year and a sphere. And I think it no disgrace to occupy my place. If I am not so large as you, you are not so small as I, and not half so spry. I will not deny you make a very pretty squirrel track. Talents differ. All is well and wisely put. If I cannot carry forests on my back, neither can you crack a nut." So, in this poem, we find in the very first line, the poet says, the mountain and the squirrel. So the two characters are the mountain. One is a mountain and another is a squirrel. They have a quarrel. And why do they have a quarrel? And the former called the latter. Former here means the mountain, okay, which comes before. Former means before. So mountain and the squirrel, it has been said. So the mountain is the former. So the mountain calls the squirrel little prig. Now who is a prig? Prig is a person, a morally righteous person, that all, or the one that is given in your book, that a person who puts up an appearance to be morally correct. Puts an appearance. Mind you, that is a person who pretends to be always morally correct. So, this mountain calling the squirrel little prig is not an appreciation, but rather an insult. So, Bun replied. Who is the Bun over here? The squirrel. Okay. Bun replied. So now the squirrel, when the mountain calls the squirrel little, or rather insults the squirrel answers the mountain, and through his answer, he tries to justify his existence. How? What does the squirrel say? You are doubtless very big. All sorts of things and weather must be taken in together. Now, first of all is, why did the mountain call the squirrel little prig? The mountain is very big. It is huge. It's enormous. So, being very huge and enormous, it is very proud of yourself. So, it looks down upon the squirrel, and that is why it insults the squirrel. So when the squirrel replies the mountain, the squirrel says that I don't deny the fact that you are very big. You are doubtless very big. But though you are very big, you are huge, but it's not that you constitute the whole earth. There are other things on this earth. There are other living things, other elements of nature on this earth. There are living things, non-living things. There are the different elements of weather, the other landforms, and the all sorts of weather. All sorts of weather also includes the seasons, the 5 seasons which complete a year. So what the squirrel means to say is that everything taken together makes up an year, not only an year, all living, non-living things, then rich and poor, high and low, everything together makes up this sphere. And what is the sphere? Sphere in our earth is spherical in shape, so it refers to the earth itself. So you are just a part of this earth. So don't consider yourself to be everything. Okay, don't consider yourself to be so superior that you can insult anybody. That is exactly what the squirrel is trying to say. Then what else does he say? And I think no disgrace to occupy my place. So the squirrel is saying that because I am small in size and you are big, that is why you have insulted me. But I am not ashamed of occupying a small place on this earth. Why? Because small doesn't always mean being at a disadvantage. And then what he says is very significant. And I think it no disgrace to occupy my place. If I am not so large as you, you are not so small as I, and not half so spry. So now the squirrel is saying that yes, you are big, but small also has its advantage. And what is the advantage? Spry. Spry, as it's given in your book, that very energetic and lively. That is, it's very agile, it's very flexible in nature. Because it's small, it's very flexible, and that's why it can move around very swiftly. So that is an advantage of being small. You are big, but you are sitting in only in one place. So that is this is an advantage for me of being small, and that is a disadvantage on your part. And then what the squirrel says, I will not deny you make a very pretty squirrel track. You make a very pretty squirrel track. Now this see how the squirrel replies. He says that I will not deny, that I will accept the fact that you make a very pretty squirrel track. The mountain being big insulted the squirrel. But the squirrel tries to justify its existence. But in a way, the squirrel does not try to once again insult the mountain. Rather, it tries to be generous and point out a good thing that the mountain does for the squirrel, that is making a pretty squirrel track. Talents differ, all is well and wisely put. Talents differ, all is well and wisely put. So this is actually the main message that the poet tries to convey. Talents differ, all is well and wisely put. And he's conveying the message through the squirrel. If I cannot carry forest on my back, neither can you crack a nut. That is, the squirrel is saying that my talent is that I can crack a nut. You cannot. And your talent is that you can carry forest on your back, which I cannot. Through this line, talents differ, the poet is also trying to tell us that we individuals, we all possess our own talents. Our talents do not make us superior or inferior. It makes us unique in every respect. So, we have come to this earth for a purpose. There is a reason for us, and we have a task before us. All of us have a reason for coming on this earth and a role to play. And one very important task of us is to do good for others. So, what the poet is trying to tell us is that we should try to find out the good in others, to appreciate whatever is good in others, rather than to find out fault with others, rather than be judgmental in nature. And by appreciating each other, we can live in peace and harmony. So that is what the poem tries to tell us. Now, I have given you questions in the PDF. I will discuss the answers in the next class. Thank you so much.